Just want to remind you guys that this stuff's online, so you can go. And I've only missed 1 week out of the last 3 months loading it up on YouTube. YouTube at James Vitullo, and you could see them again. You can look them over, and in case you missed a verse or something, I missed the week before last. No one was here to remind me about the camera. Turn the camera on, so it didn't get on. But and then usually one of the grandkids or one of the other children who comes will focus it. So that's another problem too. You can't just turn it on. You have to get it just right to be able to see what's going on. So anyways, looks like we're missing a big group. Anybody have any questions? I have our something from last week up there, or the week before actually, probably. If you have any questions. Need to this domain feature is something I use in counseling for 20 years or so. It works really well. It's very helpful searching for where the problems started and who it started in, what was going on in your life. Becomes apparent if you can practice using this domain, and how to help other people too. It becomes very useful. You just draw your starting point for when you were born, and have a line of time, and the next vertical down here would be, if you wanted to represent someone who died, who you knew and was involved in a reflection in your life, you could give them, like a line for when they died. Crazy art. Yeah, that's not good. Great. That doesn't belong in there. So you can have a time for when they died, and somebody say born 10 years before you, and they die here, and your life is projected. Say we're here, and they died 2 years ago, so you have a line there for saying that that person is out of your life, but they were influential at a point, maybe when they would have passed the age of reason, when they accepted the Lord, have a point, and then for a while they had trouble getting, things right in their life. Maybe a grandparent or an uncle or somebody, or your parents. And so, when their spirituality was growing. Maybe you weren't born again yet. Maybe you weren't born again until you were 30 years old, and so you have that. These are points of reference in your life that you can use to see, how influential a person was. You could see their spirituality, in your life. As they were growing spiritually, they had an impact on your life. They said things to you, maybe bought you your first Bible, or, offered to bring you to church or something, and they may not, since you were a kid, when they were unsaved, you may not see their life as they were, growing up and sin and being a sinner, displaying things wrongly. You saw them as this champion of truth, and growing and shedding their sin. And somebody who knew them back here, they might be a witness to you and say, Uncle Buck wasn't such a great guy. I know you like him, but he had a really terrible life at first, and so there's a lot of possibilities with this as far as you knowing things about people, about yourself, knowing the truth, knowing where you're at, in the world, whether you're, when you became born again, you had somebody here 5 years before, witness to you and help you. So they might become a very strong part in your life, maybe live very well for the Lord. So it's kind of neat if you can have this diagram for yourself when you were born, and who was influencing you, where your parents show up on this, where siblings show up on this, what their spirituality is, whether or not when you became a born again believer, did you begin to, when Christ separated you from the world, did you begin to walk well for Him? Were you really thankful, or were you a slow burner and maybe you're not living for the Lord really well now and you regret it, but you have to realize what your witness is doing. If we claim to be born again, but we continue to walk poorly, poor witnessing, poor bad behavior, not a good witness, who is seeing it? Who, maybe children, who's witnessing this? Somebody born when you were 10, a sibling or something, and they're seeing this behavior, how do you testify to them? How are you, they're 10 years old here, they're seeing Uncle Buck behavior, and they're seeing you. How do you witness to them? How are you an influence on them in their life? This person. How does the parent, if they're not a sibling, if they're just some, a relative or a friend of the family, how are the parents seeing you? Do they want you around their child? You know, this person who was hearing that you're born again, you know, when they're 12. Maybe they witness that, they hear that about you, and they watch you, and all those years and until they're 20, you're not contributing much in this person's life, except that, you know, you're born again, you're saved. You know, you need God in your life, but you're still sinning, you're still struggling. You can't break away. And this bottom line here represents perfection, which we strive for. And up here is a life of sin or imperfection or hell, hell-bound unbeliever, you know, unsaved, and our spiritual state is negative, as this chart reveals it, going upward, and it's positive as we turn away from that life of sin that we're bound to live without Christ in our lives. So there's a lot of information here looking in our lives, and you hang your life in this display, and you see, you know, put yourself as the primary person, and then have those who came before. I mean, I had a grandparent who helped me to realize who I am, and he was 60 when I was born, my grandfather, and he died by the time I was 35. He died, 35, he died here. But he told me when I was very young, when I was 10, he told me that, he said, be a good mechanic, Jimmy, be a good mechanic in your life. And I thought, mechanic? We didn't do anything mechanical. We didn't fix cars, or, you know, it's just odd that he would use that term mechanic. And I thought, I never told him that I liked working mechanically or anything. It was just something he made eye contact with, and now I realized later, after he died, that he was prophesying for me. That's all I study, is the mechanics, spiritual mechanics. So people can make a huge impact in your life, and so you see that, you know, you may have a grandparent, you know, who makes an impact, or a friend, a family, or somebody, and so you could see how much you can make an impact in somebody else's life, how you're living, you know, how you're striving for perfection, or you're born again, but you have a difficult time struggling with letting the sin go, confessing it, and having Christ become active in your life. And what is your testimony? What are you saying to people? You know, how do you say things to people? So anyways, just to work on that while I'm waiting we still are missing a bunch of people today, so I don't know what's going on. Let me see if maybe somebody is. Don't know. Maddie, Tina's missing the link every week. I have to send her the link.
Do you know which group chat she's in?
Yeah, she's in with the family. All my kids, I send them a text every week. I'll have to put them all into a
It's
group.
the same link. Is she able to click last week's link? Because it doesn't change. Because I noticed Mikey's not on either.
Yeah, Mike's not on either. He probably doesn't know that there's a study. Because I just send a note to the group.
We got Tina on.
I'll send it to the family so they can all come on now. Because usually there's 6 or 8 people on,
Oh yeah.
represented on the screen, and it's pretty low this week, so I'm figuring they're not getting the link, and they're thinking they have to get a new one every week instead of just going to Google Meet and opening it and seeing it there, but
Yeah.
they're waiting apparently.
If everyone wants to just send me their emails again, I can take them out and put them back in. Sometimes it just needs it refreshed because we have like 14 emails on there, so I think it, like Google kicks them out, or I have to renew them maybe. I don't know. I mean, I sent the link to like 4 different group chats.
Yeah, you sent it to 4 groups that I formed. Let me see if there's one missing it. Because I just get curious because I see, because people will text me and they'll say, hey, I can't wait till Sunday, I'll be there, and then you see they get the message, but they don't join, so,
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a Google Meet issue, because I can't
right,
really kick people off. Like, I don't do that. But it could just be their emails don't
right,
connect every week, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because if people need to be admitted, I just admit them in. So.
Everybody who's on, is there anyone who can't see the board? Is it too dark, too light, or whatever? Do you have any questions about what's on the board?
I can see the board.
It's a counseling tool that I've used for a really long time. You can add tons of people to it, or look at one person specifically, or you can add teachers, and you can do hypothetical situations where you would add things you see in the social structure, like you can add police to it, or bus drivers, or sports figures. You can add things, and then if their contribution, or you're searching for their contribution, what people say about them, what people think about them, teachers, how they're influencing you in a school setting, or your children, you know, if that's the case, how they're influencing them, what's going on, and it's, there's an incredible amount, you know, you can do searches for figuring out what the problem is, you know. Relationships with neighbors and how that's been affected. Maybe you're having trouble with a neighbor, or you want to witness to them and you want to put on there the day you witness, and you could take notes about what you say, and you could see how they change, or how that stacks up. So there's a whole bunch of things you could do with this. I've been using it for about 20 years, and every person that I've counseled for any amount of time, you know, people looking for problems when they started in their lives, and you can research, you can go back and find out when the problem started and how it started. So it's a really good tool. You just remember your positive growth is down. When I designed it, people want to get the idea of up and down, meaning good and bad, you know, and it's like, so I reversed it intentionally, and if these lines going up are not improving spiritually, they're degrading spiritually. They're crossing over the center, which is negative spirituality and positive spirituality. Okay, so improving is down, perfection is down, not up. So I did that intentionally to force us to not fall into that discovery, but to look for it purposely, and you know, show progress, you know, and there's always a separation here for the believer. They separate from